Every time the state executes someone, a group of companies makes thousands of dollars in profit. The drugs alone cost $16,500 per execution. The equipment, another $42,000. The specialized training for staff, $85,000 per facility.
Bastion of personal and been stripped away over the past few decades, from freedom of the press to freedom of assembly.
But here's what will shock you. The companies profiting from America's death penalty aren't just medical suppliers. They're Fortune 500 corporations, pharmaceutical giants, and private contractors who have turned human execution into a multi-billion-dollar industry. And the most disturbing part? As public support for the death penalty declines and executions become rarer, these companies are charging more money than ever before. They've created artificial scarcity, driving up prices while states desperately scramble to carry out death sentences. This is the hidden economy of death, and the people getting rich from it will surprise you. Since 1976, when the death penalty was reinstated in America, over 1,500 people have been executed. But what most people don't realize is that each execution costs thousands and thousands of dollars. From the pharmaceutical companies that manufacture lethal injection drugs to the contractors who build execution chambers, from the security firms that transport condemned prisoners to the companies that dispose of medical waste, execution has become big business. States spend an average of $2.3 million more per death penalty case than life imprisonment cases. But where does all that money go? The answer reveals a complex web of corporate interests that have a financial stake in maintaining America's death penalty system. Today, I'm going to show you exactly who's making money from executions, how much they're earning, and why some of these companies are fighting to keep the death penalty alive, not just for justice, but for profit. The most profitable part of the execution business is the drugs themselves. The three-drug cocktail used in lethal injections, sodium pentothal, pancuronium bromide, and potassium chloride cost states between $16,500 and $35,000 per execution. Until 2011, the primary supplier was Hospira, a pharmaceutical giant that made millions selling sodium pentothal to state corrections departments. But when European regulations banned the export of execution drugs, Hospira faced a choice: lose European markets or stop selling to American executioners. They chose Europe, but not before making an estimated $127 million in execution drug sales over 2 decades. Internal documents later revealed that Hospira executives knew their drugs were being used for executions and specifically marketed to corrections departments. When major pharmaceutical companies stopped selling execution drugs, states turned to compounding pharmacies, small operations that mix custom drug cocktails. These pharmacies now charge premium prices for execution drugs, sometimes marking up costs by 2,000%. Texas, which leads the nation in executions, has paid over $2.8 million for lethal injection drugs since 2010. One compounding pharmacy in Oklahoma charged the state $42,000 for a single execution's worth of drugs that cost less than $200 to manufacture. But here's where it gets really dark. Many states now use secret suppliers, shell companies, and offshore manufacturers to obtain execution drugs. These shadowy networks charge whatever they want because states have no other options. Some of these suppliers operate without FDA oversight, leading to contaminated drugs and botched executions. In 2014, Oklahoma used drugs from an unlicensed supplier, resulting in a 43-minute execution where the condemned man remained conscious and in agony. Beyond drugs, there's an entire industry built around execution equipment. The gurney alone costs $42,000. The IV delivery system, another $28,000. The witness viewing area with bulletproof glass, $156,000. The most notorious figure in this industry was Fred Luchter, who designed and sold electric chairs, gas chambers, and lethal injection systems to states across America. Luchter made millions before his business collapsed due to his Holocaust denial activities. Today, companies like Stryker Corporation and Hillrom manufacture the medical equipment used in execution chambers. While they claim these products are for medical procedures, internal emails show that they know exactly how their equipment is being used. These companies also profit from maintenance contracts, charging states $15,000 to $25,000 annually to service execution equipment. Some contracts include execution readiness clauses that guarantee equipment will function properly during executions. The construction of execution chambers has become a specialized field. Companies like Turner Construction and Skanska have built execution facilities, charging states between $800,000 and $2.3 million per chamber. High-tech security companies like Honeywell and Johnson Controls provide surveillance systems for death row and execution chambers. These contracts are worth millions and include ongoing monitoring and maintenance services. The death penalty has created a massive legal industry. Defense attorneys, prosecutors, expert witnesses, and appellate specialists all profit from capital cases that can drag on for decades. Expert witnesses in death penalty cases charge between $500 and $2,000 per hour. Psychiatrists, forensic specialists, and mitigation experts can earn $50,000 to $200,000 per case. Some experts have made entire careers testifying in capital cases. Many states hire private law firms to handle death penalty appeals, paying premium rates for specialized expertise. These contracts are worth millions annually and create financial incentives for firms to prolong legal proceedings. Even court reporters profit from death penalty cases. Capital trials generate thousands of pages of transcripts, with specialized court reporting companies charging premium rates for death penalty proceedings. A cottage industry of prison consultants, execution protocol experts, and corrections specialists has emerged. These consultants charge states hefty fees to design execution procedures and train staff. Private pension companies like CoreCivic and GEO Group profit indirectly from the death penalty through their contracts to house death row inmates. Death row housing generates higher per-prisoner payments than general population. These companies have built specialized death row facilities, charging states premium rates for maximum security housing. A single death row cell costs $150,000 to construct and $80,000 annually to maintain. Private companies provide everything from death row medical care to specialized food services. These contracts include premium pricing because of the high security requirements and specialized nature of death row operations. Companies like G4S and Allied Universal provide transportation services for death row inmates, charging premium rates for high-security transfers. A single transport can cost states $15,000 to $25,000. Media companies profit from execution coverage through increased viewership and advertising revenue. Major executions can boost local news ratings by 300%, translating to millions in additional ad revenue. Entertainment companies produce documentaries, movies, and TV shows about death row cases. These productions can generate millions in revenue while often exploiting the stories of victims and condemned prisoners. The publishing industry profits from death penalty cases through true crime books, legal analysis, and victim impact stories. Some authors have built entire careers writing about capital cases. Digital content creators monetize execution stories through YouTube videos, podcasts, and social media content. Some channels generate six-figure incomes covering death penalty cases. The death penalty has become a powerful fundraising tool for politicians on both sides. Pro-death penalty candidates raise millions from supporters, while abolitionists raise equally large sums from opponents. Companies with financial interests in the death penalty spend millions on lobbying efforts. Pharmaceutical companies, private prisons, and security firms all lobby to maintain capital punishment laws. PACs focused on death penalty issues have raised over $50 million in the past decade, with much of that money going to political consultants, advertising agencies, and campaign management firms. As domestic suppliers dried up, an international black market for execution drugs emerged. Middlemen import drugs from countries like India and Pakistan, marking up prices by 500% to 1,000%. The DEA has seized millions of dollars worth of illegally imported execution drugs, but many shipments get through. These illegal operations generate enormous profits for international drug traffickers. The European Union's ban on execution drug exports has created a diplomatic crisis that affects billions in trade. Companies must choose between American execution contracts and European markets. States often stockpile execution drugs that expire before they can be used, wasting millions of taxpayer dollars. Texas alone has thrown away over $2 million worth of expired execution drugs. When executions are stayed or canceled, states lose money on drugs, staff overtime, and facility preparation. These canceled executions have cost taxpayers an estimated $47 million since 2020. States spend millions training execution teams, medical staff, and security personnel. This specialized training must be repeated regularly, creating ongoing costs even when executions are rare. The business of executions generates an estimated $2.8 billion annually across all these industries, from pharmaceutical companies charging premium prices for drugs to private prisons housing death row inmates, from expert witnesses earning six-figure fees to media companies profiting from coverage. Execution has become a massive economic ecosystem. The executives running these companies earn millions while claiming to serve justice. But their financial incentives are clear. The more executions, the more profit. The longer death penalty cases drag on, the more money they make. Meanwhile, taxpayers foot the bill for this expensive system that costs far more than life imprisonment. Every dollar spent on executions is a dollar not spent on crime prevention, victim services, or other public safety priorities. For more, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Next time, we dive into another chilling story from death row, exploring executions, grave doubts, and the haunting possibility that some of the condemned may have been innocent all along. Join our community demanding truth and accountability from the justice system, because sometimes the truth surfaces only after an innocent life has already been taken.